Yeah, well, this was supposed to be a cold weather riding gear tips and tricks, but get a load of this guy. What are you doing?
Carolyn, it's 54 degrees in Central Oregon on the 11th of December. If I wasn't waiting for a part, we'd be out riding right now. Welcome back, everybody, to the Grand Shamrock Tour. My name is John.
And I'm Carolyn.
And we are really excited about last weekend's ride. We can't wait to share it, but we would be riding this weekend except for we're waiting for a part.
Yes, and actually your part is for your helmet. It's not for the bike. So we've got that going for us. But yeah, last week, it was so doggone cold, we were waiting for the frost to go away.
Yeah, we waited for the frost to melt at about 11 o'clock before we took off, and then we headed up to the high desert.
Yeah, the high desert. You know, we had this little bit of a plan, found this location. We were riding the side-by-side, just kind of out tooling around, found some overlook.
Oh yeah, we came upon this ridge and looked down and saw the most amazing road that went along Prineville Reservoir and part of the Crooked River. So we said, hey, let's get out there next weekend.
We go out there. But John, as we're riding past that reservoir, I don't think the temperature ever went over 36 out there.
No, but
42 for the day.
But Carolyn's bike, you know, the old Honda Transalp, as great as it is, it doesn't have an ambient temperature gauge on it. So always ride with a BMW rider because it'll tell you exactly what temperature it is. And if it's too cold, it gives you a little snowflake.
I like that snow. Well, I don't like that snowflake necessarily, but I'm glad that I can help.
Oh, thank you very much.
Woo, boy, I'll tell you what though, it is chilly. It is 36 degrees here down by the water, John. All of a sudden it got a little colder. 36 is a little colder than 41. Woo, doggy.
Very much.
Yeah, what a day we had, you know, and one of the problems that we have is we did get a later start. So keeping in mind, if this is winter, you know, the sun does set pretty early. So you kind of got to plan your routes. And we ended up coming in dark.
Yeah.
And it's really only 10 minutes to 6. So it's not like it's late. It's just, it's dark. So here we go. We'll hit a little bit of the highway and then we'll be on the back roads. Which is nice because then the deer are more likely in the back roads.
Yeah, I got lights.
Oh man, look at that. No, race this train, John. There we go. Okay, this is it. Coming in hot. Coming in at night. Got our bright beams. All you can see is the tops of the trees.
Yeah, well, it's not uncommon for us to come in the dark, but when we come in the dark, we're still well equipped.
Oh, definitely.
Well, Carolyn,
Yeah?
First of all, let's talk about how our bikes are equipped for the weather with heated grips. Now, the Transalp, I had to install my heated grips on there. I've actually got a video that Carolyn's linking to in this that you can see how easy that was, and it wasn't very expensive, and it comes with 5 heat settings, not 3 like the factory on the BMW.
Yeah, I know. But the BMW, it came with heated grips, and maybe it only had 3 settings.
4,
but I
3,
now have this
2,
special little setup.
Oh, the GS-911.
Yeah, and I can reset that. Now I have 6.
That's one better than 5.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, okay, so heated grips aside, both of us have wind deflectors on our hand guards, which
Very helpful.
It's very, very helpful because when we had our 310s, we didn't even have heated grips, and it was enough to keep us somewhat warm, but not as good as what we have right now.
It got chilly. You could see, now if you look at this, it's got a little bit more at the top, but a lot more lower down here towards the bottom. So John's going to mount this up for us, and let's just see what it does.
right, immediately you can tell at 55 miles an hour there is a complete difference in the way you feel as a rider on this bike with this screen. I'm not getting any wind on my shoulders at all. Just outside you can feel the wind buffeting, but nothing over across the top of my head. The wind is hitting right about here, and let's go ahead and give that a test. This is the sound of me behind the bike at 55, and that's what we're getting up top, my brother. All right, so Carolyn's got a table here of things that we use on a regular basis. And with Carolyn always has a heated liner with her whenever the temperature is below 50 degrees.
60, for sure.
So we both wear Harley-Davidson heated liners. And the reason is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so I've got a heated liner that is almost as old as my youngest son, and he's getting married next summer.
You gotta dust that stuff off.
Well, it still works. Now, Carolyn, on the other hand, probably because she does use hers a little bit more, it has had some things that she's had to repair along the way. But now that you have your new CAN bus system, you will be able to link a heated gear to the temperature settings on your grips.
If I could do that, I'm gonna start shopping.
You better start
Getting
shopping
on the web. That's what I'm doing.
There you go.
But I do not like to get cold.
Right, and if you've ever ridden with heated gear, you know what we're talking about. It isn't a sign of weakness. It might be a sign of intelligence.
Well, yeah, because if you get cold, you start to get tired, and when you get tired, it gets harder to ride.
Right.
And then those longer rides get even longer.
Right.
So
And
you got to make sure
layers work, but
it's safety.
so do
really.
heated gear. Mhm.
Yeah. And then, I'm kind of brand loyal.
Mhm.
I do like Revit gear.
And BMWs.
And I like BMWs, that's for sure. But I love these jackets because wearing that liner, as well as the pants, they come with an extra liner, an insulation, that really you can stay as warm as you want.
Well, yeah, and the nice thing, Carolyn really has enjoyed about 10 years of Revit gear, and the protection is in there. It's a good quality product. It certainly has standed the test of time. On the other hand, I pretty much will reach in that closet and grab the first thing that comes out is what I'm wearing that day.
Yeah, I noticed that. And I usually have to remind you, do you have your liners?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, John, what about helmets?
Okay, so this is the one thing that we want to make sure that we let everybody out there realize. The helmets that we look for are ones that are going to keep us nice and cool in the summer, that they're going to flow lots of air, that they're going to be lightweight and good ventilation. Well, everything that makes those helmets very cool in the summer, make them even colder in the winter. So we would encourage you to get to know your helmet and know it well. This helmet alone has 3 ventilation openings and a 4th one inside that allows you to cut off the flow even more. So make sure you get to know your helmet, make sure you've got all those vents closed up, and if you're like Schuberth here, you can get the mini pin liners. They're basically an anti-fog shield.
Yeah.
And I don't wear one. I just prefer to hold my breath.
That's one option. But when we came home last week, I just didn't talk a lot. You probably noticed.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah,
I kept fogging up, and I didn't have that liner on.
Yeah, and you also add a baklava, correct?
I do like to wear a baklava. It covers up my face and neck, and that's just one more component. You don't want to get that cold air on you.
No,
Anywhere you can keep that off.
No, and that's been very effective for you. So
almost done here is the rain gear. I carry rain gear with me wherever I go.
We always have rain gear on our bikes, but we never touch it because that's bad luck. If you touch your rain gear, you're probably going to have to put it on. So
don't touch it. Don't say it.
Just
don't say it's going to rain.
Just know it's there. Know it's there. Don't jinx it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm the queen of jinxing too. And then the last thing here, John, is you got to wear good footwear, whatever that is. Like, leather boots or...
Well, if you've got the appropriate footwear or boots on, then you're going to make sure that it's going to have plenty of protection, and that's also going to offer you a lot of weather protection. Just whatever you have, a good set of boots, whether they're adventure or road-based or whatever, make sure that you've got a good set of socks to keep your feet warm in the winter, but make sure that you still have good operational control with those socks, because sometimes when we add layers, we lose a little bit of that control. So
it does get a little, you start to feel like a little stuff.
like that kid in the Christmas Story.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't like that
No,
feeling.
no, we don't want to feel that way.
But I will wear the liners.
Well, I hope this kind of information is beneficial to you guys. Now, people that have ridden for a long time like us, that goes in, went out the air, and they got their own way of fixing it. That is true, but we're going to encourage more and more people to get out there and ride, and don't put your bike away if you don't have to in the winter. There are going to be opportunities to ride and great places to see, and they're going to have a different look. And if I might add, this time of year, you're not going to have the traffic. You're not going to have some of the other things you have to worry about. I think the biggest thing you're going to have to be concerned with is those large mammals that roam, you know?
We have a lot of those around
Yeah,
here.
we do. Yeah, we do.
You got to watch out for those.
Yeah.
And on that note, travel safe.
And we'll see you out on the road.
It's cool out here, though. It's a cool looking can.